Hey guys, it's me, your favorite mystical person here on the internet, back with another video. In this video, I'm talking about how to unlock your dark feminine energy with Lilith. Let's talk about my girl Lilith. Who and what is she? Lilith is a mythical creature from the Bible that was known to be Adam's first wife. And what happened in this story was Adam wanted her to be a submissive wife. He wanted her to submit to him during sex. And Lilith was like, F this relationship, and she left the Garden of Eden. And then Lilith became the demonic creature that we know today. Lilith was known to be the evil villain in the Bible because she didn't want to be dominated. She didn't want to do what she was told. She wanted to be a liberated and empowered woman. How this translates into astrology, Lilith is known to be an asteroid, also known as Black Moon Lilith in the birth chart. Where it's located in the sign that it's in, it shows where you've been traumatized, where you've been dominated and suppressed, and it's also the key to your liberation and empowerment. Lilith is the chaotic feminine force that represents your wild and untamed nature that has been punished into hiding. Lilith invites you to reconnect with your shadow side and unleash it. And the story of Lilith really ties into the glyph of Lilith. When you look at the symbol of Lilith, it's the moon over the cross of matter. The moon represents your soul desires and your feelings, and the cross of matter represents anything related to the material realm, like conformity and just societal structures. When the moon is on top of the cross of matter, this means that you prioritize your soul desires, your feelings over any kind of structure or any kind of societal rules. In this video, I'll be talking about all 12 Lilith signs and helping you reclaim and step into your dark feminine. By the end of this video, you'll be feeling liberated and empowered. Lilith in Aries has experienced being traumatized and suppressed when it comes to their identity and just being autonomous and just being very self-focused, being very expressive. So you most likely felt with being a Lilith and Aries person that people try to control the way you express yourself and just overall the life that you want to lead. People receive you as this person that's very antagonistic, very wild and out of control, and people most likely feel like you're just very selfish, and you were most likely demonized for this. You were also shamed for being very expressive. How a Lilith and Aries can liberate and empower themselves is just by being you, being unapologetically you. A lot of people are intimidated by your personal power, so they try to control it and just keep it in a box. Lilith and Aries, you got to get a little wild. I'm not even gonna lie. Expressing yourself, when you're angry, whatever, or even when you're not angry and you're just being, you have to feel okay with that. You have to do it anyways, regardless of how people judge you, okay? Because when you think about it, no matter what you do, whether it's good or bad, people are going to judge you anyways. So just do what you want to do. And that leads me into my next thing, taking control over your own life, how you want it to be, how you envision it to be, not how others want you to live and be. I feel like Lilith and Aries is that Aries placement where it's like you have to embody the dark feminine. Aries has to do with the identity. So this is the exact identity that you need to take on. You need to take on the identity of the evil villain, because that is just how people are going to see you anyways, based off of just who you are and how you express yourself. Lilith in Taurus, you experienced a lot of people controlling your energy, because Taurus is a sign that's represented by your energy, your value, your self-esteem, your self-worth. A lot of people shamed you for having high standards. Believe it or not, that is a thing. Like, people will feel some kind of way if you have high self-worth and self-value. You know what you deserve, and you know what you're going to tolerate, what you're not. People try to shame you and make you feel like, who the hell does this person think they are? People made you feel small. They tried to humble you and belittle you and make you feel like you don't have a right to really advocate for your values. Another thing with Lilith and Taurus too, a lot of people most likely shamed you for wanting to live a good life. Taurus is all about living the good life and feeling good, eating good, smelling good, all of that good. They tried to shame you into lowering your standards and accepting the bare minimum. F that. Like, no. How you're gonna liberate and empower yourself, Lilith and Taurus, is owning your self-worth and self-value, just knowing your worth and just standing on it, regardless if people want to feel mad. Listen, if people are mad at your standards, that just shows that they're beneath you. okay? They can't reach your level. They're not meant to be on your level. They don't have the capacity to be on the same level as you, and it is what it is. Sometimes it just be like that. So Lilith and Taurus, empower yourself by really advocating for your self-worth and self-value, advocating for the fact that you're deserving of a beautiful life and just beautiful things in your life, whether it's relationships, experiences, like you're deserving of beauty all around you. Don't let low vibrational people try to tell you otherwise, because Lilith and Taurus will attract a lot of low vibrational people that will make them feel like they have to let down their guard in order to just give them access. No, stop giving people easy access to you. If they're not on your level and they're not high vibrational, they're not offering anything of benefit to you, they're not making your life more beautiful than what it already is, then they gotta go. Lilith and Gemini most likely experienced a lot of trauma and suppression when it comes to their voice, them just speaking up for themselves. You most likely were shamed for being very talkative, or you were most likely shamed for just wanting to learn more. Gemini is a sign that is about learning. They're very curious people. They want to know a lot of things. So a lot of people most likely made you feel bad for asking a lot of questions or telling you to be quiet, stop talking so much. Especially when it came to you expressing what's on your mind, you most likely got punished for saying what's on your mind, even if it was respectfully. Like, you deal with a lot of low vibrational people where they can't handle the truth. They can't handle hearing about themselves. With Lilith and Gemini, how you're going to empower and liberate yourself is by speaking up for yourself, advocating for yourself, regardless if you get a bad reaction. People with this Lilith placement, they most likely experienced a lot of bad reactions for people, and that was very traumatizing for them, to where it made them go in their shell and just not want to talk. Even if it's something where it's like, okay, I have to speak up about this, you most likely felt a little bit of fear to even speak up for yourself, because it's like, damn, I'm going to be met with this big reaction. No, it doesn't matter. Just say what you gotta say. Say what you gotta say regardless, okay? Because then these are the same people who are gonna play in your face and be like, well, why didn't you say anything? Say what you have to say, you know, and don't feel ashamed for just getting things off of your chest, okay? And also, don't be afraid to want to know more about things and learning. Don't let people shame you out of elevating your intelligence. Lilith in Cancer. This is a Lilith placement that has experienced a lot of trauma and suppression when it comes to their family. Okay, Cancer is that sign that has to do with the family. Your family most likely seen you as the black sheep. You were most likely the scapegoat, and you were most likely abused by your family in all levels, especially emotionally. You were most likely oftentimes emotionally manipulated. You're somebody that is meant to break a lot of the generational curses in your family. You most likely came from a family that was very traditional. They were really big on conformity. You were definitely the embodiment of the Black Moon Lilith. People wanted you to be domesticated, very submissive. You most likely had this part of yourself that you wanted to express that was very wild, but you were most likely shamed for that. Like, especially if you were a woman, you most likely experienced a lot of other women in your family telling you like, oh, you're a woman, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't leave the house, you can't whatever, you have to stay home and cook and do all these traditional things that you most likely didn't even want to do. Lilith in Cancer. How you liberate and empower yourself is by really just saying F the traditions of the family, doing what fulfills your personal soul desires, and prioritizing your feelings, protecting your feelings, not allowing yourself to be emotionally manipulated, especially emotionally manipulated into doing things that you don't even want to do. If your family disowns you for this, and I most likely feel like a lot of you with Lilith and Cancer experienced being disowned by your family, or you just had to go no contact with them, whatever the case may be, however it manifested for you, even if that happens, like, you have to be okay with that, because what matters most is how you feel and what you desire and what makes you feel good. Cancer is all about how they feel. Cancer could be a little selfish too. They're very selfish when it comes to how they feel. The Black Moon Lilith is amplifying that even more, to where you need to be selfish with how you feel. You need to prioritize how you feel over anybody else, because most likely with this placement, you were made to feel like you have to nurture everybody else's feelings. You have to care about everybody else's feelings, and that's not being reciprocated. No, you need to put yourself first. Okay, and not feel bad about it. You need to also liberate yourself from the conformity of your family and really just strike out on your own and just really create a path that feels in alignment with you. Lilith in Leo is a Lilith placement that most likely experienced a lot of trauma and suppression when it comes to their self-expression. So another fire sign, right? Fire signs are all about the self-expression. So most likely your inner child was most likely suppressed. Okay, you were most likely somebody that loved to express yourself, whether it's through art or just the way you put yourself out in the world. People made you feel like that is not okay. You were most likely made fun of for it. Lilith is inviting Leo to not being afraid to shine, not being afraid to be courageous and confident. Ooh, that is another one with Lilith and Leo where it's like you are most likely shamed for being very confident. Because a lot of people don't like that. Believe it or not, a lot of people see another confident person and that's very intimidating to them. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? That's real tea. You were most likely told that you need to be humble. You were most likely told like you're very arrogant, you're very selfish, you're very self-centered, blah, 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 all this stuff to make you feel like you have to make yourself small and dim your light. And it's like, no. Leo energy is meant to shine, and it's meant to shine as bright as it wants to. It's just meant to be this openly expressive kind of energy. Lilith and Leo, how you empower yourself is by being yourself and courageously expressing who you are and being who you are, having self-love. And ooh, that's another thing too. With Lilith and Leo, most likely you were also shamed when it came to having self-love for yourself. Most likely people tricked you into believing like you had to neglect yourself and not put yourself first. And that is the total opposite of what you're supposed to do. Lilith invites Leo to love themselves, have confidence, shine bright, and also nurture their inner child, because most likely your inner child was abused, it was traumatized. You couldn't even really connect with your inner child. That was just hidden from you. People with Lilith and Leo, I wouldn't be surprised if you felt like all your life, like you were super serious, you didn't really have fun much. You didn't even have access to what made you happy and what made you feel youthful and just that fun side of yourself. Lilith is inviting you to embrace more of your inner child and have fun and enjoy yourself. Live out loud. Lilith in Virgo most likely felt very controlled when it came to how they show up in people's lives, how useful they are to people, how helpful they are to people. They're most likely made to feel like they weren't enough. That's a common theme with Virgo energy anyways. When Lilith is in Virgo, this is amplified to where it's like most likely Lilith in Virgo, you experienced a lot of trauma when it comes to even your self-worth. I know Virgo isn't typically represented by self-worth and things, that's more so Taurus, but it's still an earth sign. Virgo finds their value through how they could be of service, how useful they are to people. So people made you feel like you're useless, didn't really give you the recognition that you felt that you deserved. You would do something and somebody would make you feel like it wasn't enough, and you experienced a lot of trauma when it came to feeling like you are enough and you're doing enough and what you're doing is very helpful and impactful. When it comes to work, since Virgo is the sign that rules the sixth house has to do with work, your co-workers. You most likely had a hard time at work. Co-workers were most likely intimidated by you. You embody this power that makes you very efficient, very competent, very capable of just taking on many things. Bosses or even co-workers, they felt like you were a threat to them. Or even if it wasn't that, you most likely were the type of person where you just have a hard time working a regular job because it's too many rules. You know, Lilith does not like to follow the rules. Lilith doesn't like to do what it's told. And you know the workplace has like all these rules. With this placement, this is represented by somebody that's meant to to be an entrepreneur. You most likely just experienced a lot of trauma that has really affected your mental health, your spiritual health, a lot of the things that you were told by people, a lot of the ways that people made you feel. It really took a toll on your spiritual well-being, your emotional well-being, and your mental health. You were most likely forced to always help other people and put yourself last. And how you liberate yourself with a Lilith and Virgo with this is just stop helping people. It's not your responsibility to fix people's problems. So Lilith and Virgo, you just need to learn how to say no more, okay? And that's going to piss people off. Oh, well, you need to prioritize your mental health, your well-being. You know, you need to take care of yourself because you're always being of service and taking care of others. Be okay with the fact that if people are mad because you don't want to take responsibilities for their shortcomings, their issues, that is their personal problem because it really isn't your problem. If you don't have the energy to do it, protect your energy and just say no. Don't be afraid to put your boundaries on your energy. Lilith and Libra. Libra is one of those signs that has to do with relationships, marriage, or just any kind of one-on-one partnership, right? So when you have your Lilith in Libra, you most likely experienced a lot of trauma in your relationships, okay? You most likely felt very suppressed and even dominated in your relationships, especially if you are somebody with Lilith and Libra where you've experienced marriage before, most likely were in an abusive marriage where this person was trying to dominate you. And this goes back to the Lilith story about how Adam tried to dominate Lilith as his wife. I feel like Lilith in Libra really embodies that Lilith story. You most likely had relationships or even a specific relationship where you felt like this person was trying to overpower you, suppress your needs, and not really consider your feelings and your needs, and things were just not reciprocal. Things were very unfair in your relationships. You most likely felt a lot of anger and frustration with that, but since you were so suppressed, you felt very uncomfortable to vocalize your needs, especially vocalize your needs in a relationship and how you want to be treated in your relationships. How Lilith and Libra liberates themselves and empower themselves is A, getting out of the relationship. That's A. That's something else with Lilith and Libra. They were most likely shamed for wanting to be selfish. You most likely had that part of you where it's like you wanted to pour into yourself and focus on yourself. You struggled with codependency issues. You could validate yourself. Getting out of those relationships that are not reciprocal, that make you feel like you can't be yourself, you can't vocalize your needs. With you having Lilith and Libra, it's about really choosing yourself first and being selfish. A lot of people are going to have a problem with that, but it is what it is. It's very important that you develop yourself and really get to know yourself and really prioritize your needs too, you know. And if you're not in a relationship where you're experiencing that, not being afraid to cut that person off. Lilith and Libra, I'm not gonna lie, relationships could be very hard for you. Being in a marriage is really not something that's for you. You would be best just kind of being single and dating different people. If anything, marriage will feel too restrictive to you. Why? Because marriage has too many rules. There's too much conformity in marriage to where it's like you have to show up a certain way, you have to do this, you have to do that. You were most likely by your marriage partner or even a long-term partner, you were made to feel like you had to be domesticated. You know, you had to be this traditional kind of person. That doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman with Lilith and Libra. You are most likely made to feel like you just had to be a certain way or you had to uphold a certain image that you didn't want to or that didn't even represent who you are. Liberate and empower yourself by just ending relationships when it's necessary, prioritizing your needs and vocalizing your needs regardless if that causes some sort of disagreement. It doesn't matter. Like, you matter. What you need matters. And you know, if you're in a situation where you feel like you're not being your authentic self, leave. You're more than capable of taking care of yourself and being on your own and being independent. Lilith and Scorpio. So, this is a very intense Lilith placement. Very intense, but very powerful. Scorpio in and of itself is already a powerful placement. With Lilith and Scorpio, I'm not gonna lie, this is like a little bit of a sad one. So it's like Lilith and Scorpio, you most likely experienced a lot of abuse. Okay, a lot of just negativity in your life, a lot of low vibrational energy that just put you in this very dark space. You were most likely in a situation where you felt disempowered, completely just battered and abused, just disempowered. You felt like you didn't have control. You felt like you were always in fear. You were always in this survival kind of mode, to where it's like you were doing things that kind of went against your own personal values, because you know Scorpio is opposite Taurus. Taurus is the sign of values. You most likely went against those things in order to survive. It really went against your personal autonomy. You most likely experienced people just being very controlling and dominating in your life. People who are just very narcissistic and abusive. With Lilith and Scorpio, how you liberate and empower yourself is by releasing your fear about taking your power back. And understanding a lot of the people that you're dealing with, they're weak as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not strong people. Like, they give off this air like they're stronger than you, they're more powerful than you, and 9 times out of 10 they do this with what they have. You know, they feel like they can control you with what they have, their status, just very superficial and illusionary things that aren't really true power. Lilith and Scorpio's true power lies within themselves. You know, the ability to regenerate themselves and alchemize. That is the true power. The true power isn't anything external of you. It's not your status. It's nothing like that. It's all within you. And once you realize that, listen, like, nobody could tell you anything. Nobody could have control over you. Your hidden power comes from the fact of knowing yourself and your energy, not having that fear of loss. Lilith and Scorpio, you kind of have that fear of loss. You kind of have that fear of transformation. And I feel like a lot of people have made you feel like these are things that you should feel, because if you don't have any type of security, you don't have this, you don't have that, then you're not going to be anything. And that's not true. None of these things make you powerful. It's all within. From your wisdom, your experiences, your gifts, your talents, all of these things make you spiritually wealthy and powerful, okay? And once you understand that, you can liberate yourself from any kind of toxic situation that makes you feel suppressed. And Lilith and Scorpio too was most likely demonized for the fact that they're just an energy that mirrors things to people. Scorpio is already the type of energy where they introduce people to their dark side. So it's just like a lot of people would demonize you or make you seem like you're a bad person. You're just this evil person, when all you're doing is like, I'm just showing you yourself. Scorpio energy, it's very triggering to people. It triggers people's shadow. People don't like that. So oftentimes people will make you feel like you're the problem. No, it's like they're the problem. That is one of your gifts that has been hidden from you because it was forced into hiding. A lot of people made you feel like this gift that you have to unearth things and transform things was a bad thing, and it's not. It's a beautiful thing. I've said this before about people who are very in tune with the shadows. You're an agent of the universe. This is exactly what the universe does. The universe is about what's authentic. The universe is about change and transformation. You have that gift to activate that within other people. You need to embrace that. And that is also part of your empowerment as well. Embracing your gift of being the transformer, but also understanding your inherent value is also going to be very empowering for you as well. Lilith and Sagittarius. This Lilith placement experienced a lot of suppression when it comes to their freedom. These people most likely felt like they're not free to do what they want, be what they want, experience what they want. They were most likely shamed for that, just having this free-spirited kind of vibe about them. Your free will was often dominated by people. You were made to have fear about being that free and open. It makes me think like you came from a family where it's like they were very religious or they were very closed off to the world, and they made you fear the world. So they would do these tactics to make you have fear about the world and exploring the world. They would make you have fear about other experiences outside your culture or experiencing other cultures that are different from yours. You were most likely put in this box, okay, to where it's like you had to limit yourself and you were shamed for wanting to expand beyond what you know or who you're connected to. So how Lilith and Sagittarius liberates and empowers themselves is educating themselves, wanting to learn more about the world, opening themselves to different experiences, just going to do what they want to do, regardless of how people feel about it. With this placement, this shows that people are often jealous of your freedom. People are jealous of the fact that you're so well-traveled and cultured. Even if you haven't embodied that now, it's time for you to embody that, okay? It's time for you to travel more, have more experiences, and see the world more, and it's time for you to expand and not feel bad if you have to leave people behind that want to be limited or stuck in their own little bubble. And another thing that you need to empower yourself about, Lilith and Sagittarius, is just being honest. Sagittarius is that sign of speaking truth, okay? So you are most likely shamed and told that you can't say certain things. Okay, you are most likely shamed for just being a very honest person. Lilith and Sagittarius, you need to embrace your truth. You need to live in your truth. You need to speak your truth. Okay, regardless of how people feel about it, you have your own mindset. You have your own view of the world. And I feel like the more you learn about the world, the more you experience, the more you empower yourself as well, because knowledge is power. Lilith and Capricorn, your rebellious side was repressed. You were made to feel shame because you didn't want to do things the traditional way. You often suppressed your desires. You suppressed this deep need to just be free and wild. Capricorn, they're very conservative. And with Lilith in Capricorn, this is encouraging you to be wild and free and just F all the conformity. You know what I'm saying? Just F the traditions and just do what it is that you want to do. Pursue what it is that you want to do. You were most likely told what to pursue in life, what to accomplish in life. You need to own the fact that you have different goals from the people around you. You want to accomplish different things from the people around you. How a Lilith and Capricorn is going to liberate and empower themselves is by straying away from traditional things and just doing things differently, not being afraid to go against the grain, be rebellious, and just let your hair down and just be free and not care if that doesn't look polished, it doesn't look correct. Yeah, just do what feels right for you. And I will say with Lilith and Capricorn, people were just limiting you. People just didn't allow you to just be. They were always trying to correct you. They were always trying to block you and limit you. Lilith and Capricorn, you need to free yourself from these limitations. Like, you have a lot of subconscious fears and limitations that stop you from living the life that you want or pursuing the things that you want or just being who you want to be. You oftentimes feel guilty for being rebellious, and that puts you in a space where it's like you feel like you have to follow what everybody else is doing, and it's like, no, you do what makes you feel the most liberated and empowered. That is the whole point of this Lilith sign. It's showing how you need to break out of a lot of limitations that were pushed on you, break out of a lot of responsibilities that were pushed on you as well. Oftentimes people made you feel like you were responsible for a whole bunch of things, and that didn't give you the time to really enjoy yourself and really experience yourself internally. It's really about releasing all these heavy burdens. And another thing with Lilith and Capricorn is empower yourself by enforcing boundaries more. Capricorn is a Saturn ruled sign, so Saturn has to do with boundaries, not being afraid to put your boundaries, even if that makes people upset, because believe it or not, a lot of people will be upset when you put boundaries on them. These are the same people that think they could come into your life and control your life. Empowering yourself by taking control of your energy, your time, and putting boundaries when it's needed, okay? And not being afraid to put boundaries and stand on them. Lilith in Aquarius is one of those signs that they're super rebellious, and you were most likely shamed for being a rebellious person. You were most likely shamed for your uniqueness and your differences from other people. You were made to feel like you were weird, and you were oftentimes outcasted from groups. Okay, you're most likely outcasted from whether it's certain organizations, groups, family, whatever the case may be. Like, you were outcasted, okay? Like, you were seen as like this dark rebel person who just wanted to disrupt the flow of conformity that a lot of groups would try to maintain. Say a Lilith and Aquarius tried to enter into a group, these people would try to suppress you and your authenticity. They would try to strip you of everything that makes you you, to where you can't think for yourself, you can't have your own ideas. The minute you think for yourself and you have your own ideas, that's when Lilith in Aquarius has problems, okay? That's where it's like people are trying to dominate you and control the way you think. Lilith in Aquarius, you would do best just being independent. And I'm not saying that you'll never make friends. I'm not saying that you'll never be a part of something, but for a while, you're gonna have to empower yourself and just be independent from a group and just stand alone and just be okay with that. And also just being okay when people try to demonize you and outcast you. People are given the "you can't sit with us" kind of vibes with a Lilith in Aquarius. You have a hard time when it comes to groups. You have a hard time when it comes to friendships as well. You most likely deal with a lot of shady people when it comes to friendships. Going at it alone until you align to the right people that match your frequency, that, you know, allow you to just be yourself and just take you as you are and embrace your uniqueness. What makes you unique is the way you think, the way that you move, your overall frequency. You have an alien frequency, and for a lot of people, they misunderstand that. I would say Aquarius in and of itself, you have an alien frequency. You're very different. So when you add Lilith on top of that, your frequency is just very different, to where it's like you were forced to kind of hide that about yourself. And how a Lilith in Aquarius is going to empower themselves as well is just not being afraid to really shine. Because, you know, Aquarius is another sign that's represented by luminary energy as well. It's the star energy. You're the star. You're really meant to stand out. You're meant to be that it person. You're going to attract a lot of people that are very jealous and envious of you, especially friends. You shine brighter than them. So they're going to oftentimes try to control the narrative, or they're going to try to overpower you or humble you or whatever the case may be. And it's like, F that. You don't have to tolerate that. If that's going on in a group setting, don't be afraid to walk away from that. When you're living in that kind of truth, this allows you to attune more to the universe. This allows you to align to more of your true essence. Lilith in Pisces, this is a Lilith placement that has experienced victimhood to the max. You're another one where you experienced a lot of disempowerment, because on the dark side, Pisces could represent victimhood. Pisces is a sign that could experience a lot of helplessness, feeling just overall like they don't have the control or power to do things. A lot of this comes from your subconscious need to be selfless. You were most likely told that you need to be selfless and just giving all the time. Like you need to be self-sacrificing, to where it's like you were made to feel guilty. If you were selfish, you took control of your life, you put structure in your life, like you were made to feel bad about these things. People benefited from you being in a disempowered, chaotic, unstructured state of being. Lilith in Pisces, you need to empower yourself by taking control of your life, structuring your life, adding healthy boundaries in your life, especially with other people. Like, stop being so self-sacrificing. This is another Lilith sign where it's like they need to learn how to put themselves first. They need to learn how to put boundaries. Not having compassion for everything. You could have compassion and empathy, but to a certain degree. And that's what Lilith in Pisces needs to learn. Have empathy and compassion, but to a certain degree. Not to the point where it's like you're having empathy and compassion and then you're allowing yourself to be treated any kind of way just because, oh, this person went through something, so this is why they're the way they are. This is why they're mistreating you. That's not an excuse to mistreat anybody. And this is where you need to have empathy and compassion to a certain degree. Putting all that compassion and empathy into yourself, pouring into yourself, because it's like Lilith and Pisces, they're made to feel like they have to pour from an empty cup. And it's just like, that doesn't make any sense, you know, or they're made to feel like they just have to be giving and loving all the time, no matter what. And it's like, it's okay to put boundaries on your energy and not allow everybody to have access to you, or just feel like you have to give all of yourself to somebody, especially if it's not reciprocated. And 9 times out of 10 with Lilith and Pisces, you have that deep resentment for that, because it's like oftentimes people aren't reciprocating that energy back to you. Lilith and Pisces is another one that needs to learn how to say no. You're another one where you need to practice your no and take a step back from things that are emotionally and energetically draining overall. That is all I have for this Lilith sign video. I hope you guys found this insightful, and I hope you guys are feeling liberated and empowered and ready to step into your dark feminine energy. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.